All right, welcome back. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night from Washington. Thank you very much. As the Capitals actually hand the Penguins a real rare gift here. And we'll see what happens, but the Penguins, man, they should take full advantage of this. In the meantime, we have a lot of people who want to talk about the Penguins, Andrew, so let's get right back to it with our number one Cochrane Go One Better call of the night. We're going to be in with Randy in Beaver Falls, who's talking some Penguin hockey. Hey, Randy.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
We're good.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, you think this is Sidney Crosby's last year?
Do I think it's his last year?
Yeah, I think he's going to retire after this year.
No. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Robert in North Hills. Robert, what's up?
Good evening, gentlemen. Hey,
Good.
Andrew, you missed one thing about tomorrow night and the Penguins winning. Tomorrow is Bob's birthday. And mine also. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to you, too, Robert. It's a big day for Roberts.
Absolutely. Hey,
I think they should let you drop a ceremonial first puck, Bob, before the game starts.
No, they have business to take care of. I'm not getting in the way of any of that. So.
Wait, maybe he meant me. Maybe he meant this, Bob.
Oh. No, I don't think he meant that, Bob, all due respect. What, you have a question?
Just throwing this out there. Do you care to conjecture at all on who might be Penguins' future general manager?
You know who I'd like eventually is, I'd like Billy Guerin, who was here under Jim Rutherford. I'd like Tom Fitzgerald was here under Jim Rutherford. Those guys were all here, Andrew. I don't know what they're going to do. If they should miss the playoffs, I think it's then fait accompli. But if they get in and somehow do something, let's say it's a first-round matchup with Carolina, because Carolina's struggling a little bit now. I don't know. Does that change how you view the GM spot?
No, it shouldn't. I hope it doesn't change it for the Fenway Sports Group if they're paying attention, which you can't assume they are. I wonder if just extending the streak will make them feel like it's status quo and that, hey, even if we go out in the first round, congratulations on making it back, extending the streak. Let's try to do better next year. That's pretty much the approach they took after last season's loss to the Rangers. But they had a horrific goalie injury, and Jacob Trouba also decided to elbow Sidney Crosby in the head and change the outcome of that series. So, to me, I don't want to hear any more about moral victories. They have not won a playoff series since they knocked out the Flyers in 6 back in 2018. That's a long, stinking time without a playoff series victory. And even if they're up against Boston, if they go out in round one, given the moves that Hextall failed to make, both in the offseason and at the trade deadline or leading up to the trade deadline, no, I will want him to be the guy that is ultimately responsible for this team's shortcomings.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I've said it all along. There are just too many things that could have happened that didn't happen. He has let a lot of guys go that could have helped them, and he's brought in guys who won't help them. In fact, will stymie some of the things they're going to do in the future, especially with Granlund's $10 million on the books. Shark in Elizabeth. What's up, Shark?
Hey, Bob and Andrew. Nice talking to you. Great show.
Thank you,
what
too.
I wanted to talk about is comparing the Steelers with the Penguins. Maybe you guys could split them up. The Steelers got 16 years of winning record. Can't remember the last time they won a playoff game. You probably
No, you got to go all the way back. It's been, 6 years now?
2016.
Yeah, 7 years.
2016.
Okay. And here we have the Penguins. Best record, 16 straight years in the playoffs of any major team. Okay? They had 2 Stanley Cups. Steelers have 1 Super Bowl.
Okay.
They got 3 stars. Everybody wants to fire everybody.
Well,
But
that's
the
because
only
people,
one you
listen,
want to fire on the Steelers is the offensive coordinator. I don't understand why everybody's so down on the Penguins. I mean, I know
they're down on the Penguins. I don't know they're down necessarily. Thanks for the call, Shark. It's just that the expectations are high. They always have been high. And when you have this group of 3 together again, and the thing about this year is that, Andrew, these guys have not missed a game. If I had told you that, Malkin and Crosby have not missed a game, to me it sounds like a wasted opportunity given what the assignment was for Ron Hextall, which was to supply them with people around them who could make a big difference. And instead, it's not worked that way at all.
Yeah, I get tired of hearing some portions of the Penguins fans who try to make other Penguins fans feel guilty or shameful for being disappointed or demanding they do more in the playoffs the last half decade. You can at the same time be appreciative of what this core of Penguins players have accomplished, what they've done winning 3 Stanley Cups together, being a pretty good team every single year, but also lamenting the fact that it's been a long time since they won a playoff series. And yeah, you get series like the Rangers, but you also get series like the Islanders, where they got pushed around and bullied, and Tristan Jarry was terrible. In the series before that against Montreal in the bubble, when they lost to the absolute worst team that qualified for the playoffs that year. So I'm sorry, I'm not asking the Penguins to win the Stanley Cup every year. I'm asking when they're in a win-now mode that they do more than just qualify for the playoffs. And I don't think you're being a spoiled, sanctimonious Penguins fan to come off that way. Half the league makes the playoffs. So if you look at it that way, every other year, Bob, you should probably make the playoffs, and maybe every 3 years at worst, you should win a playoff series. Well, they haven't won one since 2018. That's a long time.
It's a long time, especially with the talent they have. And again, that's the whole thing. Win now is the 2 words that we hear a lot. If that's the case, then they haven't been able to win now. Let's go to Peter in North Hills. Peter, make it quick, please.
Hey, thanks, guys. Really enjoy the show. I really just find the Penguins interesting because they've had a great core for many years. But the one thing I always see is whenever they go to the playoffs, again, in the past 5 years or so, they don't have that young talent that gets them over the, over the first round because they haven't won, in 5 years, since 2018, I think it was, or 2017. So, my biggest thing is, they don't really draft young guys who have gotten them to the next level.
Well, they haven't had a chance to because they've traded a lot of those picks away. And that's the price of trying to win now, as Jim Rutherford always did. And maybe one of the worst trades he ever made was getting rid of Philip Gustafsson, who's a young goalie with Minnesota right now, who is playing as well as any goaltender when he's in there. And a nice compliment to Marc-Andre Fleury. Plus, he gave up a number 1 pick who turned out, I believe, to be Keandre Miller of New York Rangers after they flipped that pick to them. So, Andrew, you're trying to win now. You don't necessarily have a lot. He's correct, the caller, in that they don't have a lot in their system that's supplying energy or youth or both to this team.
No, and you want to also augment your team with veteran players at the deadline who make your team better. And when they were winning Stanley Cups, they found a way to do that, whether it was Ron Hainsey, who came in as a defenseman and gave them valuable minutes on that 2017 team that was without Chris Letang in the playoffs. Bill Guerin going back to 2009, getting him at the deadline, finding these supplemental players. They picked up Granlund. Okay, that just tells you everything you need to know about where this team is at, that they brought in a guy who doesn't fit. He's too small. He doesn't score anymore. He doesn't even look to shoot the puck. He doesn't really fit the kind of player you're looking for stylistically to be a bottom 6 guy. So something's got to give. If they get matched up with Boston, Bob, I'm sorry. I think they're one and done. If they win a game, they'll be very lucky. If it's Carolina, it's another story because of all their injuries. I also think it would be bad news if they got New Jersey in the first round. If New Jersey wins the division and they get not matched up with them, we saw how that story goes. And I know the regular season's different from the playoffs, but look at the difference in speed and skill when those 2 teams are on the ice together. It's alarming.
Yeah. And it was all 4 games they played. It wasn't 1, it wasn't 2, it was all 4. Don't forget about Trevor Daley, too. He was a big pickup at the time when nobody really thought much of that deal.
Right.
But those kind of players, you're right. You need to do all of that, and they haven't done that. We're going to take a break. Andrew, when I come back, I'll ask you about O'Neal Cruz, your thoughts, short-term, long-term. What does it mean for him, for them? We'll talk about that when we come back. We're right here live on Pittsburgh CW and 93.7 The Fan. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.